Very good morning to all of you. Good morning, sir. After the tea break, I think the tea should have given some energy to all of you. I welcome you all to this interesting session on Gateway for Global Opportunities. As part of the theme of the conference is Rise of India towards Global Excellence. We will be the third largest economy in the world. We will be pushing down big countries like Japan and Germany and moving ahead, only leaving US and China ahead of us. So if this is to happen, one way of looking at it is, anyway this will happen, everybody says it's going to happen, so things are moving pretty well and relax. But what I think, and all the economics think is, it's a golden opportunity for us to grow in a way that the quality of growth and the sustainability of the growth are key parameters to success. So what are they, and what strategies we need to adopt to achieve this quality growth and sustainable growth is very important. To me, if you look at three elements, one is, while growing, there are multiple opportunities, options to choose. If you look at the GDP of India, 25% of the GDP comes from agriculture. Another 25% comes from industries. Major chunk, 50% comes from service. Service means what? Information technology, hospital, healthcare services, tourism, design, intellectual properties, things like that. Now, let's look at it. This 50, 25, 25, is it good enough? Is it the right way? We continue to grow this way, or is there any better opportunities? Economists who are inclined more towards Chinese way of growing, they say India has missed the manufacturing bus. So we need to focus a lot more in manufacturing. Why do they say? If you look at China GDP, the contribution of industries for this growth is 37%. And 53% nearly comes from service industries. So they say we should be focusing like China and improve our manufacturing. This is one way of looking at it. Western people, what they say? See, look at the growth of US. US GDP, anybody can guess what is the composition? There are three elements: agri, then industry, third is service sector. Any guess? How much is agriculture? 20%. Any other answer? Huh? 2%. You are pretty close. See, US agricultural GDP is less than 1%. Right? So where does the growth come from? 80% of the contribution is from service sector. Rest is from industry. Now, US and China, big economies. Look at some countries, everybody talks about Israel, which is doing pretty well. How is their GDP? Also their agricultural GDP is only 7%. Majority, 70% comes from service sector. So, we need to really understand the dynamics and the current situation and look at where we need to focus. It's not that we will not grow agriculture, we will not go manufacture if you select service, and vice versa. Everything will grow, but you can't grow everything equally. As industrialists, you all know that you have to prioritize. Certain sectors needs thrust. If you have to give thrust, you don't have so much resources to give thrust to all. If you give thrust to all, I don't think any of them will grow. So this is where the strategy plays a major role. Which one to choose, which path? So what is that? So if US followed 80% service sector, should we follow that? Or China follows manufacturing 40%, so should we follow that? Each one has got its plus and minuses. Today, we are at 25% in manufacturing. We are doing pretty well. Our export is growing. In terms of brand image of Indian product, it's not bad. It's doing pretty good. Quality is accepted. And we have our delivery issues. We commit something, then we say next week. Then there are issues on deliveries. Cost, of course, we are not competitive as many other countries. If you look at Vietnam, they are really putting pressure on us. The kind of industrial growth they are having is phenomenal. Such a small country, but they are doing pretty well on this one. So we need to do a lot to ensure that we grow on a consistent path. For that, what are the gateways and keys for success? We have three eminent speakers to talk about. But if you look at service sector, it looks very attractive if you increase the service sector. We have all the right ingredients for growth in service sector because we have intelligent people, healthcare. You look at Dr. Manivandan talked about it. At one point of time, we were exporting doctors to countries. Today, we have best of the doctors in India and we provide best of the health service for international customers apart from our Indian customers. So it's a field where we can exponentially expand. Like telemedicines can be one of the wonderful service there because if you look at UK, NHS, so much of shortage of doctors. You look at Norway, more than 50% of doctors in Norway are foreigners. You look at Canada, anybody in Canada experienced health problem? If you have a heart pain, you have to rush to an emergency center. There, you'll have to stand in a queue. They'll make an initial assessment. They'll say, you are not dying, so stand in the queue. So the earliest time you will get attention is after 6 hours. But because they one by one, they clear. So you have a heart pain, your whole family is concerned, but the system works that way. So they have so much of shortage of skilled doctors and the facilities. So there is huge potential for India to play a big role and improve the service sector. We are the digital world. So we can, for service sector, digital is going to be the major area. So there is a huge opportunity for us to focus a lot more on the service sector and take it up. But it has the quality of growth is good, there are question marks. So if somebody is in research and intellectual properties are there, excellent. Country grows, money comes. But the money will go to few packets. Because that's not that everybody is an intellectual property owner. There will be few, there will be this. So wealth distribution is a challenge there. But at the same time, there are service sector areas like tourism. The growth in tourism can really bring in equitable growth. So next topic we need to focus is that is the growth based on the quality aspect of it. Quality, what are the things you will look at? When wealth is created, the disparity in wealth distribution has to come down, right? You agree or not? So that's one area. Second is quality of life in terms of health care for people, education, and social security. We have a long way to go in India, right? So when we make a strategy for growth, these are the elements we need to really focus on this thing. Third element is what? The growth you can achieve one time, but will it be a sustainable growth? We need to work on the design. When you strategize, you need to keep that in mind. Sustainable growth. Today, the kind of growth we are doing, a lot of work is being done. But do you think current growth is sustainable growth? How many of you feel that we are on the right track? We are, anyway, our growth will be sustained. How many of you feel? Not confident, many of you. Main reason you look at it, one element you look at it, trade deficit. We have always been a trade deficit country. Imports are more than exports. You can't grow that way. See, when you keep on taking loan and keep building your house, what happens? You have to someday return, no? So that's an area where we have to become trade surplus country. What's the way out? We need to export, whether it is agri, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is service. Export is going to be one of the, so that's where we will bring in balance. So to achieve export, what is the key factors for success? Quality, cost, and delivery. We need to be really focused on all the three elements. So I will leave the platform to the experts to talk about it. We have very eminent people from different fields. So before we call the first speaker, we'll generally set up a broad guideline. The speaker, he can talk for 15 minutes. Then 5 minutes for question answer. I don't want to carry the question answer to the last session because half of the questions will be forgotten. So 5 minutes for question answer. So maximum 3 to 4 questions will be entertained. Then we will go to the next speaker. At the end, we will have a summarization and any point of it, right? So our first speaker is Mr. C.H. Nadigar. Already introduction has been there. He is the Regional Director of Engineering Export Promotion Council. Engineering Export Promotion Council is doing a wonderful job. Today, they are the engineering export is the highest forex earner for us. And as a regional director, he is playing a very big role. He's a mechanical engineer and is working with EEPC for 18 years. He is also very passionate about developing entrepreneurial skills for people and creating new enterprises. So let's listen to Mr. Nadigar. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. Chairman of this session, distinguished speakers on the dais, President of NIQR, other office bearers, and attendees of this very illustrious seminar. I was indeed wondering how I would fit in as a speaker in this session. Firstly, it is on quality. But when I say the session, though the convention is on quality, but the session is on global opportunities.
Let's ask them whether it's visible when we sit here, we can come down otherwise.
When I start the slides, I think people can judge. Later on, it was a general crowd, it would be, and I come from an engineering export council. But when I came here, when I saw the list of sponsors, almost everyone is from the engineering sector. They are all members of EEPC. So I thank the organizers for giving me this nice opportunity to speak for a while. I would be talking about the export opportunity, the scenario present in the world trade, global trade, and how can we fare in that, and what are the opportunities we have, what are the challenges we normally face in the export field. Let me introduce about my organization, what all the activities I do. There will be about 20 export promotion councils you can find working for different product sector. Then I come from an organization called Engineering Export Promotion Council, which takes care of the promotion of trade of engineering products. And for other sectors, we have different councils. The functions are almost the same what has been depicted here. And the one thing is RCMC is the registration cum membership certificate, which it is a semi-regulatory role. With that certificate, the exporters are eligible to get a lot of incentives for promotion of exports. All others are promotional and licensing activities. When you talk about engineering sector, everybody has their own definitions around the world. The definition of engineering given by the Department of Commerce, Government of India, is anything to do with metal industry. All metal related processes and products come under engineering, barring the precious metals like gem and jewelry, the gold and silver. The products are handled by Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council. Rest of all the metals come under us. It is a very dynamic sector, you can say. About 3% of India's GDP it covers, 25% of India's exports, and out of that about 40% of it belongs to the MSME sector. This is the trend of our engineering exports percentage as compared to the overall merchandise exports, I can say. We form about, last time it was 27%, and 22-23 we are about 24%. We have share in our Indian merchandise exports, mainly because of the disturbances in Europe because of war. Since most of our engineering exports go to that part of the world, we have a slight slowdown in that. And I think this month, August, we have done very well. Shortly, the results are coming out for the export of engineering products. Let us understand the global trade, how we fare. Though we are the 5th largest economy in the world, but what is our contribution to the global trade in exports? Yes, we have a very good manufacturing base, but majority of the consumption of our production goes into domestic market. If you look at it, if you look at the merchandise trade, we are about 1.8% of the global trade. And if you look at the engineering, India's share is just moved from 0.7 to 0.8, 0.8 to 0.9, and now we are doing at 1%. If you look at the exports done by other countries, though we are 5th largest in economy, in terms of contribution to the global trade, we stand at 18th position. The first comes China with 3,600 billion US dollars, almost 7 to 8 times of our exports. United States is 2,000 exports, $2,000 billion. Germany is 1,655. Netherlands comes about 1,000. So as it goes, we are at the 18th position. Most of the G7, up to 18, all the 1 to 17 are all the developed nation. India is only the developing country which forms part of the top 20 nations in exports. So there is a direct link between exports and getting a status of a developed market. Direct link. Grow your 2047, the government has a target of our country getting into a developed nation status, and the major thing which we have to do is to increase our share of exports, which is very minimal as compared to other nations. When China, when we say 3,600, about 15% it contributes to the global trade. That's how we can say. How you can see just, it's almost the merchandise trade and the engineering export, it fares, the graph remains same. Whatever, maybe slight dip in the year 2020 in merchandise trade because of the COVID, but there is no difference in growth or contribution of both merchandise exports, and I'm not touching the service sector here because I am told that there will be somebody speaking on the service sector. Both almost the performance remain the same. These are all the top nations. Why I have this slide? Because 72% of our exports are to only these 20 nations. And these are all the, first is the USA, second is the UAE, Netherlands, China, Bangladesh, and up to Malaysia. These constitute about 72 to 75% of our exports. There are 200 plus countries, and our focus is only on this. Similar is, there is no difference between the general merchandise. When I say merchandise, all products other than service. When I say engineering, it is the engineering sector alone. So here also you can see the first is USA, second is UAE, the same. Maybe here and there the countries name may change. You can see this graph is more clear where our concentration of exports, both in terms of merchandise and both in terms of engineering. North America, there it is 22%, North America is here 19%, European Union is 19%, and here the European Union is 17%. The contribution into developed market is from the engineering sector, but merchandise exports is evenly spread throughout all. But the focus is only hardly 20-25 countries. That's what I wanted to communicate. This is the target we have for our export promotion. By 2030, the target given to us is $1 trillion by 2030. We are about 450 last year, and we have to grow up to 1 trillion merchandise exports, and accordingly from 112 or 127 billion dollars, engineering exports has to grow about 300 billion dollars, and by 23-24 we have projected 121 billion if things go well. The global geopolitical scenario, other things go well, optimistic, but if you go at this rate, we would be reaching about 116 billion US dollars. If you see the projections, the growth projections, I think the Boston Consulting Group has projected about 2.3% growth for the next year, and World Bank has 2.7%. And non-developed, especially India, Indonesia, they are doing well, but the world, like Euro area and all, are at 2 or 3% in line with the average global growth. So EEPC has come out with some strategy paper, and the objective is to now, where do we find growth on our exports? And we have found two things: how do we grow despite all the scenario we find. We have found in our study two areas. One, we need to broad base our exports, not to focus on 20-25 countries. We need to, there are 200 countries everywhere the products, our Indian products or services can reach, and our focus should be broad based. The second is technology. 6% of our exports are high-end technology products. Only 6%. 94% are medium, low-end, and resource-based products. That is the reason our contribution is limited to 1%, 1.8% merchandise. Unless we move up the value in technology, there we cannot think of an exponential growth, and we cannot think of a $1 trillion exports. We are seeing growth in exports, but the growth in exports is in line with the growth in global trade. As you had noticed in my earlier slide, our share has remained constant. How do we increase our shares? We have to grow beyond the growth of the global trade. If we need to grow beyond the growth of global trade, increase our share in exports, these are the two-pronged strategies. Diversify. Second is go up the value chain, manufacture and export high-end technology products. That is what I wanted to say. We have done some study for the engineering sector. We know we are good in Europe, we are good in developed nation, we are good at exporting to United States. But what are the other countries we need to look into? A study has been conducted. These are the new countries which we have found out, and these are the products that we find in demand. This is a desk study done based on the statistics on what type of products those countries import, what is the volume of imports they do in those kinds of products, and from where, which all the countries these countries import, and what is the technology level of the products that they import, and whether India can pitch in. So based on these criteria, we have identified products as well as the country. This we call it as a product country matrix. Russia, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Uzbekistan, Poland, Hungary. I think a couple of slides are, yeah. This is an additional information. Apart from diversifying our product, countries of export, I think a couple of slides on the list of countries, I think they are missing while copying, but I will share the presentation here. We have about 30 countries we have identified the products. We need to leverage on the free trade agreements, preferential trade agreements signed by India. So here, our products, when we export to these countries, will have no customs duties or low customs duties. So we will be more competitive than our competitors. So apart from the new countries we need to look, we also need to look at these countries where India has signed free trade agreements already, and India is in the process of signing agreement with Europe, UK, Canada, and some of the Latin American countries. So we are focusing on these areas wherein our products will not attract customs duties to your buyers there, and 5%, 10%, 15%, our products are cheaper there, so we will be more competitive, so we will be able to export more. Second initiative of the Government of India to increase exports is the rupee payment mechanism. This is one thing we need to understand. This government is focusing on that. These are all the countries which have opened an Vostro account in our banks, with our banks, and there will be no double conversion. Suppose we are exporting to United Arab Emirates. United Emirates, your buyer has to convert in US dollars. The US dollars will be transferred to India, and India bank has to transfer into Indian rupee, and it has to pay to the exporters. But with this mechanism, this avoids. United Arab Emirates directly transfers dirhams to India, and Indian government, Indian bank will convert dirhams into Indian rupees and gets. So that exchange rate, conversion charges will be saved. That is, one is the conversion charges will be saved. Second is, it is easier for many countries who are facing currency issues. That is a big issue nowadays. Anywhere you want to export, buyer is willing to pay the money, the country may not be having hard currency. Government has tweaked the law. Earlier the FEMA law, the foreign trade policy, were focused on all hard, strong currencies, freely convertible currency. Now FEMA and foreign trade policy has been changed to accept rupee conversion, rupee transaction. So anything you invoice in rupee, get your money in rupee. It is accepted by FEMA, it is accepted by the foreign trade, it is treated as export. And this is an added advantage. I would like to appeal to the forum to make use of this. And this is will be continued with many countries, so that dependence on dollars and euro will come down, and finally many countries would like to, who have problems with foreign currencies, would be able to do good imports from India. Let us, only 4 slides. Where do we stand? What are our issues? What are our problems? What are our opportunities to grow? I'm not saying anything extra. Everybody knows what we are. Nowadays, because of many things, growing acceptance of Indian products globally. Earlier, that was not the case. We were struggling to introduce ourselves. I've been in the field for last 20 years, traveled all over the globe. But now that is coming up, thanks to our IT. IT first helped us to know globally. Next, gentleman, sir, was present, ISRO, because of Gaganyaan, Mangalyaan, Chandrayaan. So these things have in fact created a buzz in the global arena. Pro-export, yes, Government of India and the state government are always talking of ease of doing business. India, as you know, is called as a global manufacturing hub. But don't look at the contribution of exports in the global trade. But if you look at our capacity, it is, I think, the manufacturing hub next to China only. Nobody has this kind of a diversity in manufacturing. Global R&D hub. All major companies are coming and setting up. There are more than 500 to 600 global R&D centers in India, focused mainly in South India, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad. Of course, some are there in Noida and other places. Abundance of technical, existence of wider range of manufacturing capabilities. 2 minutes. Of course, this is also not new. Still, we are facing problems. I was talking about technology. Non-existence of global brands. This has been a pain for all of us. Smaller countries like Korea, they have their own global brands. Many are present in India, but where do we find global brands? We have top brands like Tata, Mahindra, but where do we find outside? That is one issue which plaguing Indian industry. Ease of doing business yet to pick up pace. Though at the top level that is happening, you may be facing at the ground level what is the issue. Still, Indian bureaucracy has to wake up, and ease of doing business should be made possible at the ground level. Indian industry heavily dependent on the domestic market. Still, that is how, though we are a global manufacturing hub, our contribution is 1% in the global trade. Because we are more passionate about, thanks to Almighty, we have a huge domestic market, but still that is also an issue for growing of exports. These are all the opportunities I wanted to say for, this is more important slide. Let us not worry about the weaknesses. Growing India's image, problem with China, creating an opportunity, global manufacturing shifting to third world countries like India, expediting bilateral and multilateral agreement, which I said, introduction of rupee pair. We have to encash on these opportunities to grow global. Yes, these are also a problem for us. The last slide. Though every country is struggling now, they are coming about with protectionism. They are, now it is a CBAM, carbon emission, manufacturing assessment is coming up. So Europe is blocking our exports. That kind of, lot of countries are coming up and competing with us. Pandemics, wars, recession, and there is, federal government is taking some proactive decisions. We have many state governments ruled by opposition, because they have their own local issues. So labor code bill passed long back, not implemented here. So this kind of complication in central and state is obstructing the reforms, the economic reforms, to some extent, because as per the constitutions, some are state, some are directed by center, and this conflict is also affecting us. And the higher cost of capital, cost is about 15% here compared to 5, 6, 2, right from 2% to 8% in our competitor countries. So these are all some of the threats we have to overcome. These threats. This is, sorry, I don't know about this slide. What is the way forward for an Indian industry? And thank you so much for the opportunity. So, sorry for exceeding the time, Chairman, sir.
Thank you, sir. I have an announcement for the Platinum and Diamond sponsors. Platinum, Super Art of Watch, Platinum, MM Forging, Diamond, Called Zeiss. Their representatives to come on to the, occupy the first 2 rows, please.
Information sharing by Mr. Nadigar, especially what are the ways out for India to grow engineering exports. He put the list of things to be done. Some will be done by government, some by all of us. But I am sure we will move much faster than 1%. See, when the GDP of Indian GDP is 9% of the global GDP, our engineering export cannot be 1% of the global this thing, right? We need to work much harder on this. The input is very useful to us. Now let's next move on to the next session. Next speaker is Mr. S. Raghuveeran, fondly called as Raghu. He is a senior director in Cognizant. He is a technology thought leader, expert in artificial intelligence and machine language. Maybe a very interesting session. Let's listen to him. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone, the chairman and other speakers and delegates. I think we had a very, very interesting sessions earlier by Dr. Dev, Dr. Manivannan, and we are humbled the kind of success that has been achieved through our Chandrayaan. So now the theme for this session is Gateway for Global Opportunities. And when we talk about Gateway for Global Opportunities, we cannot miss AI there. And AI has been there for the last maybe 15 years or so in various forms. And now recently, you might have all heard from November onwards, November 2022 onwards, on the Gen AI. Many know through ChatGPT. That's the latest trend over the last 9 months, really creating a revolution next to the internet. Huge revolution, which presents huge set of opportunities for us. So here we are talking about how we can leverage AI for quality assurance, where the quality is the most important aspect if we want to really grow and more export to the world. So I will give maybe 10 seconds for everybody to look at it. This is one of the Dilbert's cartoon. How quality is getting the actual importance. That's the key message from this. Even though everybody talks about quality, but actually when we want to implement, it gets less priorities compared to the other aspects. So at this juncture, I would like to share one of my personal incident story during my work life. So for one of the North American financial clients, we were doing a large program. It is for their credit card related program, credit card campaign management, etc. So everybody knows that typically during your credit card campaign, you will have a specific periods, maybe a 1 week, 10 days, 15 days period, where you will have a 5x points, 10x points, only for that limited period. What happens is, in this particular large program that we were doing for the client, one of our 2-3 year experienced associate identified a potential issue, saying that even after a particular campaign ends, if somebody is spending on a particular product sales, then that person is getting 10x points, which means there is a huge leakage for the credit card company, the bank. So this was identified by one of our QA associate. Then we wanted to validate before we actually go to the client. So we did multiple rounds of valuation, and we felt that that is a real issue. Then we actually showed to the client VPs. Then from their business, they also did some validations, and then finally figured out that it is a real, genuine problem. And now, because of this QA associate that he was able to find out this, that particular company, at least for future, for whatever already bonus points that is given to customers, you cannot retract, but for the future, they will be able to save, that because of that leakage is avoided. That impact was $48 million. So the point I'm trying to say is that is the kind of importance we need to give to the quality assurance. With that, we will move on. I think earlier I was planning to talk about Chandrayaan, but I will Mr. Dev has spoken a lot, so I will limit to very, very specific points. I think we all of us know, he talked about how our landers were taken care of all through AI. So how that Chandrayaan-3, some of the issues that were fixed of the Chandrayaan-2, based on the quality assurance aspects that were done, and how AI was engaged in terms of adjusting the altitude, adjusting the thrust, so various aspects, because of which we were able to soft land. And beyond that, once rover is already there, in terms of various experiments that it is doing, looking at the soil in lunar space, looking at the minerals that are available, everywhere AI is getting engaged based on various models that we have. And I was reading one of the WhatsApp message saying that the cost of Chandrayaan, if you divide by the distance to the moon, Earth and moon, it was coming to some rupees 18 per kilometer. Whereas today, if you compare, if you want to hire a Toyota Innova for a day, that cost is 22 rupees per kilometer. So it is a huge, huge proud moment for all of us that we achieved such a big success that were achieved only by very few countries till now. I think 3 countries. We became the 4th country in such a fraction of their cost. So we will give a big round of applause for our ISRO scientists. So now, AI, how, sorry, I think it is, how AI and Gen AI is really going to make our quality assurance simpler. We may all would have heard about ChatGPT. Anybody have heard about something similar to ChatGPT, which are LLMs that are by other companies? Absolutely. So bots, Palm 2s, llamas, there are now, even though ChatGPT started in November 2022, in the last 6-7 months, there is a mushroom of LLMs that can do the similar Gen AI like a ChatGPT. At least there are 8 to 9 that are already there. And now various companies are looking at creating a domain-specific LLMs, which is healthcare-specific LLM, manufacturing-specific LLM. So that is the kind of work that is going on. And we did see that Indian government is also planning to create our own LLM that is similar to what ChatGPT has done or a bot has done. Indian government is also looking to create our own LLM with an Indian context. So many times we want to see to believe something, whereas in case of Gen AI, it is the other way around. We have to believe it, and then we can see the results. And many companies are looking at, not looking at whether to invest in Gen AI or not. They are more looking at how far they should invest. So that is the kind of scenario that is coming up. And everybody is thinking about what Gen AI can or cannot. While we discuss all this, obviously there are certain, we will touch upon, there are certain aspects Gen AI cannot do, and the industry is trying to do more and more R&D to try to refine that and come up with the latest versions. So we just talked about some of the examples. Here specifically on 9 yards of testing, 9 yards of quality assurance that we are talking about. It could be creating intelligent test cases through our Gen AI. You can identify potential defects in an end product by scanning, by looking at the images, by our previous historical aspects of the product, etc. And you can assign specific defect severity, priorities, based on which you will be able to identify how that needs to be fixed. And there is an automatic fixing mechanism also coming up, which we talk about self-healing. So you identify a problem, you identify a defect, and automatically fix it. So all these things are coming up. Some of these things are already implemented. Some of these things are in the experimentation stage. So it is at various stages for different industries. So for IT sector, now Gen AI is being leveraged in variety of ways. As we talked about, it is in the anomaly detection. It could be in the automatic bug identification, automated root cause analysis, automated testing, and even code generation, actual development code generation, and code reviews, creating the design documentation. So variety of ways now Gen AI is getting used. Now moving on to other sectors. Gradually every sector is picking up with respect to using Gen AI. I think AI is being used in so many industries already for the last 5-10 years. And Gen AI being new, as I talked about, some of the companies are coming up with industry-specific models. For example, if we take healthcare as an example, brain-computer interfaces. I think it is getting covered in one of the later sessions. Brain-computer interfaces where somebody, for example, is a patient, he is not able to move, but he is thinking certain things, and whatever he is thinking, it can go as a message or getting typed over a paper, and that message can be attended by the attendant if he is not able to speak. That is the kind of advance coming through the AI-based brain-computer interfaces. Similarly, in bionic implants is, for example, eye. Somebody does not have vision, but he wants to still read a newspaper. Now, there is an AI-based product already available. It is launched by Israel maybe 4 or 5 months ago, where you wear a specs and a device. The person is blind, he is not able to see, but he will be able to still hear the newspaper. He will not be able to read. The reader in his specs is going to read the newspaper for him. So he is able to get the feeling of actually reading a newspaper. That is the kind of, this product is based on AI, is already available. It is, I think I was talking to one of the person, it was costing $4,650 as of today. And similarly in the healthcare particularly, I think there is a lot of advancement have done. Diagnosis, if somebody is undergoing a MRI and potentially somebody is looking at maybe a brain cancer or whatever. So by looking at a MRI or a CT scan image, the AI system will be able to point out based on the color and area. It is going to point down potentially these are the lesions where it could be cancer. Obviously, still it is not able to predict, confirm, like he was saying, Dr. Dev was saying, deterministic approach and non-deterministic approach. So it is not able to say as of now, clearly here is a cancer, but it can point potentially there is a cancer. And then the radiologist can look at it and then confirm whether that, so basically it is going to reduce the time. If a radiologist has to do this manually, it is going to take significant time and analysis time for him to identify whether something is there. Now, this AI is going to give him ready-made aspects. Look at here, look at here, look at here, potentially it's there, remaining all places is fine. Now, radiologists can look at only those 3 places and say whether that person has a brain cancer or not. So that is how the revolution is happening through AI in the healthcare industry. Adaptive healthcare is another area where somebody wears a device. I think many of us know the device, everybody is wearing a device. Now hospitals, okay. So, yeah, I will finish in just 1 or 2 minutes. So hospitals will have messages going in. If a patient, a senior citizen patient is alone, and if he has a pulse rate that are going down or BP going up, then that message will directly go into a hospital, and a nurse immediately can send an ambulance to the home and pick up that patient and get him to the hospital to give immediate care, instead of somebody calling an ambulance and coming to the hospital. So this is the last slide. We'll end there. This is the kind of where are we heading. So we talk about the deterministic approach that Mr. Dev talked about. We talk about how we will become mystics. Some of the areas where through our continuous testing, continuous QA, somebody will wonder, how is this possible? Will we become extinct? Now, I will just again share one example and finish my presentation. So let's assume that an automated car is there, completely enabled through AI, and it is going on a road, and it is designed to say minimal health law, minimal human loss. That is okay, it is designed. Now it goes on a road, and it sees 12 people on the road. It should not hit, but it is in the last minute, it is identifying. And then on the platform, there is one person walking. So it determines, reduce the damage, it goes into the platform where one person potentially is going to get impacted. Is this right? How it is going to be measured? Let us think as an example, on the road, some of the cyclists, some rash cyclists or a bike, somebody is traveling. If the same system is going to determine 12 people are traveling, and hence I will still go on to the platform where an innocent innocent person is traveling. If it's going to impact him, it is a problem. So that's where ethical AI, responsible AI comes in. Obviously, in today's scenario, the system will not be able to identify which is the right one, what to do. So that's the kind of, I will stop there with that things to ponder in terms of future of AI that is going to shape up. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Very interesting examples of artificial intelligence application. I hope in future, in a very short period of time, all of us will be able to use it in our shop floor, some of the concepts. Now, our next speaker is Mr. Ayyappan, President of ZF Rane Occupant Safety Division. He's a hands-on man, and he has brought in tremendous changes. So let's listen to him as to what he has to say about the gateway for global competitiveness. Thank you.
How ZF Rane really grown during last 10 years. I'll take you through in 10-15 minutes. Quickly, I'll finish. So it's a very long journey and a very difficult journey. If you decide to enter exports, definitely you should have all strength and resources and willingness to do it. So we have got 4 footprint, 2 at Chennai and 2 at Trichy. And Trichy is a new plant started in the year 2019. And the inflator plant is a new plant we have invested recently. The inflator and webbing is coming under PLI, for which government is also supporting us in terms of certain benefits. So this is our vision. So we say that we wanted to be a preferred supplier of occupant restraint systems with commitment to safety. And you can see we make seat belts, and we also make all kind of airbags out of Trichy. And this is our journey. If you look at, we started in the year 1997 at Singapore Mall Coil in Chennai. So our turnover started with meager 1 crore. And you can see up to 11, 12, we did not grow. Even the growth of 9, 10 to 11, 12 came because we had a tie-up with one of the Japanese seatbelt maker and entered Maruti Suzuki for a large volume vehicle. That is why we were able to grow significantly, only 3 years. Till such time, we were not growing, and we don't see the technology availability for us was not there. You can see we had only a basic seat belts and one buckle, and it's only one product. And 10, 12 years, we were not able to do anything. 15 years, I can tell you. Only standard seat belts we had. Then lack of growth. Mainly, we don't have a big market in India. Domestic market was very, very low. And it is not growing at all. So we were not able to grow. We had only one competitor. He was really having complete market share since he has got all the products, and they are 100% established in India. We are a JV. So these are the constraints within which we have been working, and low volumes, and we don't have an engineering capability. Everything comes out of Germany and other places, and poor connect with global organization. These are the issues. And we then looked at how we can grow. Through exports, we should try. So we have been debating, and both JV management was also discussing for the last 3-4 years during 10 to 13. Then we wanted to look at export out of India. Initially, ZF was not willing to allow us because they don't want to lose their presence or their pricing strategies. Otherwise, if we go on supply, then we'll kill their pricing. So they were really very apprehensive. Then we invited the global senior management team to our plant in Chennai. We started showing all the top management from engineering, quality, operations, purchasing, engineering. So everyone were visiting us and they saw us. Only thing is, the people are good in our plant or in our company. And we have the urge to grow because we were not growing. So they found that we are better. I think with us, they can work. So they gave us a first test code to do with Hyundai Korea. So we did it in 2014, but we failed. We could not get the business because it's a first supply out of India, or first business they need to give it to us out of India. They were also not willing to do it, but our pricing was also not, we did not understand the pricing, so we lost it. Then we also successfully achieved this second quote. We were able to really give a right price, and by that time, in 6 to 8 months, we were able to really bring in the Koreans to our plant, show them what is our capability, what we can do in India. Then the second business of 100 crores we have won in the year 2014. Then again, after that, the airbag business, one of the business which we are really bleeding in Europe. So we found that there's an opportunity to bring that side airbag business to India. The technology is not available in India. So these two actions we have taken. And you know, why we wanted to really get into exports, we also changed our strategy on how to get export business, mapping export opportunity. You should know that no JV will allow you when they are present in that country, because the quality and pricing, delivery, all these things will not meet. So we found that ZF is not available strongly in Korea and other Asian regions. So we first took Korea, then we understood the global footprint, strategy mapping, then approval we got from ZF. Then after that, pricing, everything we did. This process we have adhered to. So we wanted to really, if you want to really grow in domestic, bringing in such a airbag and advanced seatbelt technologies will cost so much. It will go in terms of 10 million, $20 million you need to spend to bring every technology. So volume is going to help us. We thought that the volume is really going to help, and we can amortize over larger volume, and you can recover the whole investments in 2 to 3 years. Otherwise, for the Indian volume, if you go and invest for such a side airbags, curtain airbags, then it will take 10 years to recover and nobody will be willing to invest. So we took the stand, we should definitely enter exports. But the challenges are very, very huge. We don't have any experience in entering or supplying to global customers. The quality levels, delivery, many, many things you need to really understand. We do not have that, but we slowly started understanding and networking with our collaborators. So that has helped improving our quality systems, then access to new technology, then spread of tech costs. That's what I meant. You need to spend to bring a side airbag close to 10 million. Or volume of domestic means it's only 100,000. If it is going to be exports, will be 1 million volume. So this is what is helping us. So that has really helped ZF to have a larger share in Korea market through India. So the win-win for both. So this is what I wanted to tell in this slide. So this I mentioned, we brought almost all the senior leadership team from ZF, Europe and North America and Korea. So they all visited. This took nearly 1.5 years to get their willingness to accept us to supply globally. And first business we got, I told you, from Korea, we launched the seat belt. Initial quality issues, as we predicted, we really had a very, very big nightmare. Then capacity, we have planned as per the requirement, but we did not understand the global customer, how they actually launch. During launch, the ramp up, how they will do, and ramp down, actually how they will do, we do not know that. We did not understand. Suddenly, the volumes, what they wanted is more than 1.5 times to 2 times, initially. And there was a quality issue. We stopped production. This has happened in 2016. We stopped production, but they started SOP. So very huge pressure, and we have been sending parts by air. Close to $1.5 million we spent over the period of 3 months. Then only we were able to sustain and come to the required volume. Because first 3 months, the ramp up is, their agreed volume is 25,000, means they were doing, actually in India, the ramp up will happen to touch 25. They will start with 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. It will take at least 3 to 4 months in India. But in Korea, what happened to us is, start itself is around 25,000. Then 20,000 in 2 months, then 15,000. So that's how they come to the stability level. So this has really caused a lot of issues. Then we really fixed it in 3 months, and we were able to move to C. After that, absolutely no issue. We were able to understand the customer, quality, and delivery. These two are very, very important. And the airbag business stands right. I told you, it's a loss-making business in Europe. They wanted to launch, and the volumes are very, very high. It's around 400,000 vehicles. The loss will be much more if they do more. So they wanted to give back the business in global country, in Europe. We found that we can do it by localizing machines and do certain things in our plant. So we took up this opportunity as a big, big challenge, and we did this. The volume was 400 initially, then it has become 800. So I'll tell you how we installed a third line proactively. First 2 lines initially we put up, that has given 400. Then we came up with a third line proactively, even before they asked. We just heard that they are going to increase. Immediately we put up. Otherwise, we need to send by air. So you need to be very, very proactive. You should not wait for the customer to come and officially tell you. You should see the signal and act. And it's a risk, but you need to take that. Otherwise, you won't gain. Risk taking is very, very important. Export is a risk already, but one has to take a very, very calculated risk. And this has really, I called the customer, he came and inaugurated the third line, well ahead of his requirement. So that has really created a lot of confidence in us. Then, a lot of business we have won. So this is our sales growth. If you see, 14-15, it was 161 crores. Then we moved to 592. CAGR is 30, and almost 30 to 38% we have been year on year doing CAGR. During COVID alone, we had a dip. Otherwise, you can see from 21-22, 657 crores to 930 crores we have gone in the year, 22-23. And our projected sales for this year is going to be around 1,050 we are looking at. and we should be able to easily do that. And you can see the breakup of our domestic to export. This is the balance we wanted to really keep. This around 55 is exports and 45 is domestic. So we want to bring it to 50-50. That's what we are working, and we are also growing significantly in domestic because of the technologies we brought in for exports, helping us to be competitive in the local market. This is what every one of you should understand. If your quality and process is meeting global standards, you are able to do a scale, you can easily win more domestic businesses and you will have less problems on quality. Because you will learn how serious is a business. So this is how we have done it. You can see 2013, we brought in airbags, then only we started growing. Only with seat belt, we were not really able to grow. 2013, then 19, they brought the legislation to go for frontal airbags, 100% mandate. So that has helped us. So 2015, we put up a new airbag plant in Chennai. 17, we won a Maruti Suzuki seatbelt business. Then we introduced a side airbag export. 18, we went to Trichy and commissioned a plant. Then we have invested a high-speed laser cutting machine that is mainly to do the airbag sewing. It's a big vertical integration we invested. Close to 70-80 crores we invested on 2 machines. One laser will produce around 5 million bags. So we added in 2020 one machine, then 2022 also we added a machine. 2022 we have brought in inflator plant, and 23 we have brought a webbing plant. We have also added an airbag plant. You all know that the BNCAF is demanding high amount of airbag fitment. So we are very proactively doing this to increase our domestic market share also. So initial quality issue, I said, there was no compromise on process standards. We took all the global input and improved our lines using local engineering. Then we also implemented a lot of Industry 4.0 AI-related projects. We have done AI on process, safety, and quality improvements, and it has given a lot of savings on our CapEx in terms of removing automatic assembly lines. We have went in for AI. So I was talking to Sivanations, because Sivanations is a veteran in passenger car safety quality. He knows what is quality in passenger car, and it's really a tough call. So we have taken a lot of initiatives. I think close to 12 young engineers with 1 to 2 years are doing all these projects, clearly vetted by our senior team members. Then for exports, you need to be very, very careful in your supplier development. We are 100% dependent on suppliers. We don't manufacture inside anything. So we had a very clear supplier development activity with 4 engineers, 2 from our side, 2 from ZF. They worked independently and they were with only suppliers. For the last 6 years we are doing it. We have developed close to 40 suppliers. Out of that, 10 suppliers are now identified for exports to our ZF global organization. This is really going to support our suppliers when they invest. And engineering capability also we are now improving, because one of the competitiveness where we are losing is on engineering. So we are now setting up the engineering base in Trichy. And you know why we chose Trichy is a lot of young engineers are available. From south only they are all coming to Chennai. Why we should not have a plant at Trichy and keep those people closer to their home? And you know, I also saw that going rural, I saw in doctors this thing, building leaders from rural background. I think we are also doing that. We want to give a lot of opportunities for them. And 2 vertical integration we have done. I said webbing, it's a technical textile. It's a very new thing for us. We do not know anything about it. But we have brought in 2 specialists and moved the plant, one of the plant from overseas, and installed. It is running now in Kanjipuram. It's a very, very important safety critical part. I was talking to Sivanasan just now. Very, very important safety critical part. Not a normal textile. It's a technical textile. And SEPA APTA, I think Mr. Nadigar also spoke. So we are using that. So you can also, we can also maybe you can get connected with Mr. Nadigar and get more information about where and all we can export. Then incentives really helped us to bring in a lot of further investments. Forex, we are able to really gain a lot. That really 50% of our profit comes out of Forex, I can tell you. then import of capital goods under EPCG. So this is Industry 4.0 AI projects. One is Goggle. I don't have a video because of the file size. And the other one is this you can see, Goggle. In many companies, goggle wearing is a problem. So we have brought an AI, a camera will detect him, this specs it will detect. If he is not wearing specs, the machine will not run. The next one is, this is a huge fabric moving area where people will move inside. If they fall inside, it will pull them inside. It happened in one of the global locations, some incident. So we went in for a low-cost solution with the AI, whereas the European supplier gave us a solution for 60 lakhs, but we have done it for 2 lakhs with our young engineers. Again, I did not do it. The young engineers did it with 1 year experience. And I'm going to show everything to Sivanesan when he is visiting next time. He is very interested. Then SOP adherence. You see, we are putting a lot of SOPs in shop. People will miss it. You should have, we brought in an AI where every bolt, nut, washer, if they put, sequentially the camera is taught. You need to do a lot of teaching work. It will take at least 2 to 3 months at least to teach the machine. So that is how this airbag from automatic to semi-automatic we have brought in, and the investment also reduced 1/3. And folding detection. In airbags, folding is very, very important. Folding direction is very, very important. If you miss this, the deployment will not happen properly and it will come and hit you wrongly. So it's a very dangerous area. So here you can see green and red. So this folding step is not doing properly. So it will give a beep sound and stop it. And there is a traceability, everything is there. Even if it does everything, it will not unclamp. Even if it unclamps, next process, he cannot do it. So that's how it is integrated. Because as our doctor said, you can't recall a patient. Actually, you can't recall an occupant in a car if we don't do a seat belt and airbags properly. So this is what I want to tell you. And then a lot of paperless work activity has been taken. So the operators, quality inspectors given a tab, they'll go to each station and just enter the readings, whatever they are seeing, and it is getting recorded at the central server. Any exception, it will alert the next level supervisor. So finally, it's dare to deal, this is what we are trying to do, being agile, adaptable, flexible. With all these things I think you can do very well in exports. Without that, it will be very difficult. You should be always alive when you are taking up exports. I recommend, please don't wait, get into export, pick up some export opportunities in a smaller way, then you grow. There's a lot of opportunities, You cannot grow or improve your quality without you are getting tested in a overseas customers. The customers are totally different. So that's what I want to tell you. Finally, on women empowerment, our plant at Trichy has got close to 90% women employees in operations and office also. So close to, out of 1,200, I got close to 1,050 women employees. So all 3 shifts they are working, all 3 shifts, mostly diploma engineers. I tell you, I don't have any export quality issues so far. Domestic, my quality PPM is in single digit. Exports, I don't have any quality issues. I am at 0 PPM. Otherwise, we cannot do 500 crores exports and 500 crores domestic. So really exports has helped us. Otherwise, we would not have really scaled up or learned anything. The customers are totally different. So that really helps to offer a very good product in India. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
All of the speakers and the chairperson to be on the dais. And I also request the coordinator to come on the dais. As we are running late for lunch, I think we can open up for one question. So anybody there who wants to ask a question? Okay, good. I think it's very self-explanatory.
Let's not hurry up that way. I'm sure people will have something in mind. Any 1 or 2 questions we can take. Just can somebody check?
Console, can you check that mic, please?
Yeah, you introduce yourself and ask your questions.
I am Nagaraju from Ashok Leyland. My question is to Mr. Nadigar. So he told that brand building is a must for exponential growth for exports. So what is the strategy we are having in our government to promote branding, so the global branding?
Yeah, yes, I said we do not have many global brands, not even one I said, like Hyundai, LG, Samsung from Korea. Brand, I think whether government has a role in building brands of private companies, I don't know. But branding of the country is being done. India's branding in terms of signing multilateral agreements, in terms of being part of the global multilateral firms, whether it is economic, whether it is military, or maybe on climate change, country is at the forefront. I was suggesting use the country's image and bring about a global brand. For the companies, they need to forge tie-ups with global players. For example, how Jaguar has become an Indian brand, a global brand, a UK company bought out by Tata. Now we can say that Jaguar is an Indian company which has a global presence. So that kind of arrangement can be done. Government has also come out with a scheme called PIL schemes, wherein it is encouraging local production of existing companies by providing incentives. And more you export, more you produce, more you go up the technology by forging partnership, more you have your presence due to your products in global area, the brand image of the company will be done. Secondly, wherever there is a support from the government through lines of credit to many countries, for example, through Exim Bank lines of credits, government is helping many developing countries through the loans, credits. There it is insisting that maybe for electrification, maybe for improving the transport, I think they are insisting that they use local Indian-made products to be used in the global tenders or global works there, which is being done by using our line of credit. So this is, government is doing its bit, but coming out with policies, the companies has to make its choice of growing up in the global value chain. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll just add, the long-term solution for this brand image is, okay, he said short-term is use India's brand. But long-term solution for creating a strong brand is invest in R&D and create intellectual properties. If you have Apple, why is it a brand anywhere? It's just because of the research and the product developed. You take any name. So we need to have investment in that, and we should be focused on developing intellectual properties. Then we will have brands of India.
So just to add on to that, the government is also providing incentive schemes for R&D development and the money that a company would like to spend on R&D. So I agree how important R&D is to create your own brand. I'm just summarizing the gateway of global opportunities, a few takeaways that is very important for us. First, on the macro way, it is wealth is created, but disparity needs to be reduced. quality of life needs to be balanced and improved. Sustainable goal need to become a trade surplus, for which we need to focus on exports. For focusing on exports, you need to be the best in quality, take care of the cost and the delivery timelines. And then we have some startling figures where we are very low in terms of global trade, where our Indian share is very, 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 very low. And for us to go up, we have to focus on exports. So that is one main thing that we've been hearing from all the speakers here. So it's just not the merchandising export, but the engineering export needs to go up. And take a two-pronged strategy for the growth in exports. Basically diversify and get into as many countries as possible. We have a base of 200 countries we can choose with all the government schemes and the free trade policy that has been signed up. And then focus on technology, use the help of technology and grow our base in exports through technology. So, and therefore you move up the value chain, which is very, very important. Currently, most of our exports are at a very lower level of the value chain, for which we do not get good pricing, and it is not called our product. It is only a basic thing that we are giving it to them. So if it has to be Indian brand, then we need to actually grow up in the value chain and give products and services which can become a brand. So make high-end, high technology, high-priced products, and therefore exports, money from exports grows up. Sir has presented slides on how many countries are there. You know, I'm sure NIQR team can circulate to the delegates who are here on more details on that. And leveraging AI for quality assurance. AI is used in Chandrayaan, as Sir said in the morning today. AI, Gen AI, makes your quality assurance much more simpler. I'm sure the examples are very shocking and very good also. For this, we as in the core industry, the manufacturing core industry, need to tie up with our new gen IT people. Usually IT is separate, core manufacturing is separate in India. Now we need to do a tie-up with both brains to come together, where the AI can be implemented here. We make our products instead of actually copying from another country. We have the brains in IT, we have the brains and the experience in core manufacturing. So the best marriage between the two will result in very good products and services for the global market. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much.